Hey everyone, this podcast is coming to you from the Psychic Dolphin Garage. You can support this show and our larger efforts to build a leftist community through podcasting and other projects over at patreon.com/Psychic Dolphin Garage. That's patreon.com/PSYCHICDOLPHIN Garage, which is spelled how it sounds. I know Bloomberg is going to be doing an ad, and by the time this comes out, people will, probably have memed it to death. But can you imagine what it would be like if he just bought up like the entire 4.5 minute ad block?
Oh
once?
my god!
And it's not even to talk about his campaign. He's just like, "How's it going?"
It's like
This
a
is
video
Michael
of him just
Bloomberg with your
sitting, sipping
ASMR
coffee.
hour.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see you there. Hi, I'm Mike Bloomberg.
Being like, yes, the more ads time I take up, the more it costs me money. So literally every second of silence is millions of dollars.
Yeah, I really do like how his whole fucking strategy has basically been, okay, we're gonna beat Trump just by virtue of spending money. And I have to think it's some, like, accelerationist mask-off fucking,
I mean, that is ultimate rich guy logic, though. That's just like, well, I mean, like, I'm not going to, do anything else other than, like, throw money at it because I have a storied history of about 50 years of that working for me so far. So why would I abandon that strategy now?
Works? Yeah.
It's absolutely nuts that, like, people that don't even want to be president are, like, running for president just so Bernie doesn't win. Like,
Yep.
Mike Bloomberg does not want to be president. Like, he just doesn't want to have his taxes go up. And all his buddies
I don't think Donald Trump wanted to be president, for that matter. Like,
absolutely
he wanted
not.
to just make Trump news.
Yeah.
Some shitty version of The Blaze.
Yeah. It was a win-win for him, whether he won or lost. Like, he figured out, like, oh, shit, if I lose, I know who to blame it on. I know my audience will come with me. Like, dude. Absolute king shit, I think, is what we're saying. Alpha move.
Yes, we love and support our
think,
president and his actions on this podcast.
And that's why I'll be voting for him this year in November.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. God.
Yeah, my price, $200 extra in tax rebate. Never mind the fact I lost $4,000 in benefits, but I view that as a net positive.
Yeah. The best thing was, and I saw this when I was in jail, the best thing was, like, the one thing that people thought he would be good at doing, which was the tax thing, was that failed as well. Everyone's taxes went up. Like, there was whole entire news segments of people that were like, yeah, I mean, I hate everything about Donald Trump. The one thing that was cool was, I was going to see more in my tax return. And then it's like, teachers can't deduct pencils anymore. Like, everybody got fucked by Trump. Every single person alive.
Well, actually, the taxes on my yacht tax went way down, so I think it's a rather wonderful deal.
Right, yeah, except those guys.
What was that?
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you over the sound of your yacht burning into the lake.
Well, also, there's been a deductible installed on my squash lessons as well, so really I think Trump's done a lot for the economy.
Yeah, they're
these peasants are unionizing and gathering their pitchforks. Whatever shall we do?
Yeah, everybody that talks about how, like, middle class benefited the most from it, they're like, you see, I don't have to pay in as much. It's like, yeah, but you're also getting, like, so much less back. Like, the paying in was just because of how stupid tax brackets are in general and how bad they work as a function of our financial system. Yeah. And so you're actually ending up with less money every year. I don't know why you think you ended up with more money. Just like shut up and go sell some more weed or something. I don't know.
Psychic Dolphin Garage.
Hey everyone, I'm Kelton.
And I'm Zach.
And I'm Bo.
And I'm JJ Demon. Oh.
Yeah, no, fucking hop in, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. It is what it is, Like
he said he didn't know his lines, okay?
Do it again.
Just all fucked up off Coke Energy.
Do it again. Yeah. Well, yeah, this free package of Coke Energy you guys had sent to my house for this podcast, I got right into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It came in the dehydrated form, It was just all white powder for the Coke Energy.
Yeah, it doesn't make the water brown or anything, but I assumed that was normal. I just went ahead and just popped it in my my Soda Stream. and carbonated it, and so
Who do we have joining us in the garage? Just the one, the only, the person with 2 J's. Yeah.
Until I was rudely interrupted by the show. Yeah, I'm JJ Demon. I'm a leftist rapper from Philly. Hi,
Philly, also known as East Coast Houston. So it's nice to have some solidarity.
Handicap New York.
Ooh.
What? It's just that.
We've had JJ on our 15 Million Flowers episodes, and he was not as problematic there, but he's really feeling the energy tonight for our main show.
We're 2 minutes in, and I've been canceled. So.
No, that doesn't happen until the games portion. When people are like, favoritism is fascism. How dare you have a preference towards anything?
No, listen, handicap. That's it's like a sports thing. When you get a handicap,
it's like golf.
right? Yeah.
Which you're canceled for golf, by the way, because golf fucking sucks.
Well, I'm canceled for bringing up sports when it's not the fucking sports segment yet. I don't know. I didn't read my docket. I got about halfway through the docket.
That's, to be fair, is probably about, I don't know, halfway more than Zach and Bo have gotten. So
yeah.
Good on
Sweet.
you. Good on you. As everyone knows, my favorite episodes are the ones where no one has read the docket. And so, we just get this like super lovely, it's almost like an avant-garde. Yeah, it's acid jazz.
It's like a fucking it's like a recipe a toddler invented where it's like, we're just gonna do ice cream and then some fucking ants.
Kelton has like stories like ordered to like feed into each other so that we can like riff, and then like we have like a perfect transition point that he has like pre-scripted out, and he knows how he wants to lead us through it. And me and Bo are like, so my dick's like at least like 2 millimeters shorter than yours, bro.
No. We had this conversation. We had this measuring, this quite literal dick measuring contest, and mine was 2 millimeters shorter.
I don't know about that.
I certainly know. We hired a scientist.
The only thing we're 2 millimeters short of is reaching 100 subs on YouTube. And as we're trying to build our YouTube up, you should definitely reach out and reach around even and give us a subscribe so that we can have a customizable URL. And also subscribe to the rest of our social media platforms that we run on.
That was incredibly slick.
It's like classical music.
So that we can continue to grow our community through podcasting.
Yeah, that's right, because people aren't sick of that bump already, I'm sure.
TOLPHINGA.
You guys got in right before the podcast boom, too, which is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Not a lot of people do podcasts.
I feel like pretty soon everybody's going to have a podcast, but you guys got right in there under the wire.
It's all the little podcasters and then us just stepping on them as we run across the lake.
I don't know. I see this thing. I see this podcast thing going big.
That's right. We're talking dozens of people who will tune in and listen. Literally dozens.
I'm talking about podcasting as an art form, guys. I see this thing possibly taking off somewhere in the near future.
The thing that they don't have yet for podcasting is like an algorithmic podcast giant hosting service that then hides podcasts that can't break out into the algorithm. Once they make that, podcasting as a platform is over and done. Like it only works now because
free podcast hosting fees, unlimited, but you just become at the mercy of the algorithm. Oh, yeah. Jesus.
Don't somebody fucking cut that, because I do not want that to actually happen.
Silicon Valley ghoul is gonna do that exact thing now. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
There's been a Superbowl ad for it as we speak.
Oh no.
Between us recording and now.
Did you guys try to get some ad space for the podcast during the big game?
Yeah, I reached out. They told me to go fuck myself, though. They were like, dude, you can't be nude on this ad. We were going to cut you a deal to make it pretty cheap, but you can't. There's no nudity. And, I'm not going to compromise my fucking art.
We draw the line at putting on clothes.
Yeah.
It's about the work. And
Speaking of drawing the line on...
No.
I guess...
What is that?
King of segues.
Someone has to keep us...
Listen. There are episodes where I'm just like, so we're going off the rails. Cool. I can just let my hands go. Jesus, take the wheel. And we'll just see where we wind up.
The IWW tweeted furry art. That's what Zach was trying to get to.
Yes.
The International Workers of the World. The IWW. There's probably 30 different fucking better versions that already tweeted. But yeah, they tweeted some art that was to describe it quickly, a big old fucking skunk with a big inflated, like, I'm talking fetish art inflated belly, crushing a capitalist fat cat.
Ooh.
And yeah. I mean, hell yeah, good for them.
Yeah. Can you join the IWW if you're a failed rapper?
Yeah, failed rappers are workers.
It wasn't in the drop-down tab.
We're also waiting for the podcasters union, but
Yeah,
That-
local 42069.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, let's unionize.
Yeah.
Fucking up, agitate and organize against Apple, I guess.
yeah, no,
Yeah, fuck
we're
Apple.
Bernie. If you guys didn't see, Bernie updated his platform. He had just the democratize your workplace platform, but now he also has democratize podcasting, democratize YouTube, democratize posting.
Democratize
as
the
his new
bedroom
post.
that you work in / jack off / work and jack off at the same time.
Democratize the polycule.
It's
democratize the polycule.
It's that fucking that I have no idea what it's from originally, but it's just a picture of like a weird black metal desk, and it's like, here's where I come to record music, cut myself, jerk off, and cry. Also, where I record my podcast.
What is a
Big
black
fucking-
metal desk?
It's like a desk with a bunch of satanic and fucking candles and I don't know.
I was
Okay.
thinking
Y'all know the
like
picture
those-
I'm talking
the big
about.
steel thing where it's always the desk itself is super cold, so you can't lean on it, otherwise your arms get really cold. And
We really are.
The
off to a great
drawers are
start
wearing
on this
spiked
audio
armbands.
medium. Talking about fucking. Oh, here's this furry art, and here's this fucking meme that I'm describing. Yeah.
Yeah, I love describing memes. It's my favorite part of the podcast, really. Y'all
Any
seen that
podcast,
one
yeah.
where it's the dude?
How
looking
else
at
are
the
we going
other
to help
dude?
out our blind comrades, Bo? It's ableist of you
Audio
to think that we
descriptions of
shouldn't need
podcasts,
to
yes.
describe memes. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
For-
I
for
really
those
should get into that
cannot
after
see
my
that.
handicap remark. I
God.
have to give back.
It was a low bar to clear, almost as low as the handlebars that they use for the handicapped people to be able to go up.
That's 34 to 36 inches for the grab bars. Okay, that's all you
gotta
had to get
gotta
over.
Make sure, you gotta make sure if you're making handicap jokes, they're at least regulation.
Oh,
Yeah, no, fucking ableism aside,
yeah.
big fat skunks crushing. God, it's just it is just straight up. I really wonder if it was originally because it is like a cat in a top hat and a monocle being crushed.
That rules,
Which
though.
that's another fetish right there too.
I mean, I'm hard,
inflation
but-
aside.
The double down on the tweet and them someone calling them out, them being like, "Oh, you thought it was a mistake?" That's art.
that's
My
all-
own-
and
that's
then they
absolutely
did
Chad shit,
a
yeah.
follow up tweet though, because they were like, by the way, if you make fursuits or work in fur, you are part of
You're a worker,
a
pal.
legitimate
Yeah.
labor chapter division. So
Yeah.
people were like, holy shit, furries can join the IWW, which
Oh,
I
no.
mean
They're
that
still
would be
workers. You fucking think anybody
Yeah.
can whip up one of those suits?
Well, and the only problem that people had with it is oh no, don't show sexually
it's
provocative
weird
things
fetish.
on your
It's-
channel.
It's
I get that, but are we scared of people having sex now? Is that
Yes.
the level that we've sunk
Yes, I'm terrified.
to?
Just the thought of
no.
people having sex.
The only people that are
I get filled with rage the second I think of someone else besides me having sex.
That's my sex to have.
Immediately- Yeah, I immediately go out and start harassing handicapped people. That's my number one thing that I do.
I can't wait for ultras to tell me that I can't talk about having sex.
A
about
handicapped
just
person having sex?
pounding one out.
Hell yeah, good for them.
Yeah, and
It's ableist to say that people can't have sex. What about people that struggle having sex? You ever thought about how difficult it is for them to have sex? And then you're out
Like
here telling them
myself.
that they can't just they can't talk about what an accomplishment that was. Maybe that was an accomplishment for someone to feel,
So you're
to
saying-
finally have a modicum of brain juice
A
that finally let them.
modicum.
did he just pronounce modicum modicum?
Yeah, modic brain
Modicum
juice.
Is
that-
My dick comes.
Yeah, I had to get dick and cum enunciated in that
but
word.
I guarantee you, there's some fucking Twitter thread somewhere from 2 or 3 years ago of just some absolute asshat claiming that there's a heavy intersection between fucking ableism and making fun of incels. I guarantee.
Oh, absolutely, dude. You did. That's one
Not
search.
fucking is the greatest disability of all.
Yeah, so by the time this episode comes out, Super Bowl will have happened on Sunday. Burning in Iowa, all of that will have happened on Monday. So, it's kind of well, what are we supposed to talk about right now? on a Saturday night. What's left? Thank God for Brexit, boys.
God for Brexit. That's what we've always been saying on this podcast.
When does this? Oh yeah. When does this episode come out?
This is going to come out Tuesday morning, yeah.
Okay, so we'll have
God willing.
So we'll have known whether Bernie won Iowa or not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, future me. Fuck you.
Yeah. Hey, future me. Buy some fucking Bitcoin, you idiot.
In 2012, idiot.
Hey, future me. You're doing good. Keep it up. Try not to eat charcuterie at midnight again tonight. Just try. Or eat less of it. Just less. Eat a little less. Anyways, you're doing good.
Only little a
salami.
salami. Only little a salami.
I keep buying these summer sausages and just like, I mean, charcuterie is the best, dude. I love it. You buy yourself like a cheese plate, some crackers. I just bring crackers home from the food bank because like we can take stuff, It's not, wait, if you work there, you probably also need to shop there sometimes. But so I just stay like, I'm in crackers. I just got crackers. You know what I mean?
Crackers for days, yeah.
And
it's Philadelphia. It's crackers for days.
Well, I live in Columbus, Ohio now. I'm from Philly. I can't tell people that I'm in Columbus because then they go, "That's not how people talk in Columbus."
No, now the whole rest of the episode is going to be dunking on Ohio.
I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and I drink water.
Yeah, I drink water. Yeah, I'm drinking from my water bottle right now. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. I want to give a shout out to
Oh, that's hard to hear.
I mean, you get me around a couple of my old crew from Philly, and it's not good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it just sounds like a bunch of people with just their mouths stuffed with cotton balls and dicks,
full of fucking cheesesteak. Yeah.
It really
You're
does.
Not actively deep throating a hoagie. Are you really from Philly?
You will beat up a man for saying that like your hoagie spot isn't the best, or get beat up by that man, which is probably my case now.
A couple of Johns beat me up.
I've been defanged.
By the way, I'm gonna create a petition that if anyone from Philadelphia decides to visit Houston, when they come back, they have to refer to that city as Trilladelphia. It's important. It's a cultural milestone, I think.
Yeah, do a whole fucking sister city thing. Yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm Pow Wow, baby. That's my Paul Wall impression. You guys
That's good. That's great.
I'm Pow Wow, baby.
If you listen closely, you can hear the grill.
I was going to say, are you sure that's not a fucking Liz Warren impression? I'm Pow Wow, baby.
Okay.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Liz Warren.
I liked it.
That competitor. Definitely high enough in the polls to still have a viable campaign at this point.
The same as Bernie too. She's exactly like Bernie, just a woman and younger. So
yeah,
I don't know why we're not all voting for her. Probably because
I put on my glasses. I put on the glasses. I see the same person. I take them off. I see two different people.
New QAnon conspiracy. Like, have you ever actually seen Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren in a room at the same time?
Yeah, the debate stage, it was all on camera. They never actually touched each other, so it could have been just done digitally.
Yeah, it's all edited. It's fucking
That's why she couldn't shake his hand.
Oh
no!
Yeah, that's what it is. It's fucking Freaky Friday, or not Freaky Friday, the other one.
Oh no, that'd be even worse if it was Freaky Friday. Oh
no! They switched bodies.
Yeah. They have to run each other's campaigns. I guess Liz really was the better choice.
That's it.
Bernie trying to figure out drastically how to right the Liz Warren ship.
And all of us have to go on a campaign of convincing people to vote for Elizabeth Warren now because it's really Bernie Sanders.
Yeah. What is the ramifications, in terms of identity? Like, man, woman? Can we just crack the other category, please? Until the Disney rules no longer apply? Because holy fuck.
Hey, we have some non-binary comrades running out of the Rose Caucus, so like we're getting there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's right. I'm not sure non-binary means your soul is being possessed by another.
No, that's exactly what it means. That's the only way people can escape from the prison that is the gender binary is through some like cliche, terrible, idiotic, fucking like Disney original movie shit. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure non-binary doesn't mean you're Jamie Lee Curtis, but like with like a mohawk with an electric guitar.
God, that fucking movie sucks so bad.
Yeah, it is bizarre that when you look at the people's careers, you're like, yeah, I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis is still a bigger name than check notes. Lindsay Lohan, Lomain, either way, something. Fuck.
I watched that movie, The Bling Ring, the other night. You ever seen that?
That's that Adam Sandler one that just came out, right? No, I'm kidding.
Yes, uncut Bling Ring.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but no, it was cool because it was the true story of those kids that were just like finding out where celebrities lived and then like checking their Twitter to see when they wouldn't be home and then walking into their house and stealing all their
I
jewelry.
appreciate you desperately
rules.
trying to hide the Philly
What did I? What I?
when they wouldn't be home.
Oh. But they were just so stupid because they'd like go to like Paris Hilton's house and steal all her jewelry and clothes and then wear them to a party that night and tell everyone at the party what they just did.
That's the fucking dumb thing. Yeah, they could have totally gotten away with it.
Never
if not
would have
for
gotten
those
caught.
own meddling kids.
Yeah, never.
Fucking.
Honestly,
Just-
those are the best kinds of celebrities to steal from because odds are they wouldn't miss it. And even if they did, they'd be like, man, I lost it in a blackout episode. Time
literally,
to check
yeah.
into rehab.
Yeah,
I lost it in my annual BoJack Horseman blackout binge.
Oh, speaking of, those episodes just came out, so I'm gonna have to end the pod early. See y'all later.
Bo with tears streaming down his eyes, like this was my Super Bowl.
BoJack, the suicidal
cartoon
horse.
just gets me.
See, that's the thing, by the way, that I think that people don't quite understand with about nerd culture. It's the same as sports culture. Like, we aren't able to properly express our emotions, and so we either channel them into sports or into, like, nerdy shit. And so that's why, like, we think Jimmy Garoppolo is actually our best friend, or that Magic Horse Boy knows what our personal struggles are like. So
Yeah.
yeah. Really selling the highly touted magic high fantasy portion of that show.
I like that. You know, all of our media right now is talking about, you know, the big event, the Super Bowl. Everybody, you know, has the Sunday off. Everybody, you know, it would almost be a holiday if it wasn't on a weekend already.
Yeah.
And over in Europe, you know, there's still protests happening in France. The firefighters union is now also protesting.
Yeah, and it's badass too. You seen them videos of them fucking up the riot cops?
God, it's so fucking cool.
It's awesome.
They're lighting themselves on fire. They're human Molotovs.
That is some real king shit right there,
Yeah.
or anti-king shit, you could say.
We suck, dude. America sucks so bad. We don't know how to fucking protest. We don't know how to strike or riot or do anything. Like,
Well, they're doing okay in New York. Did you see I think it was recent. They did it again. They hit all of the...
with the transportation riot.
oh
and,
yeah. That was cool.
Doing all
Yeah.
the Gorilla Glue through the card scanners.
Yeah.
That is some definite king shit right there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, fucking, and that's where it starts too. Is just doing, like, you know, a little bit of fucking some light civil resistance.
Yeah.
To really see, you know, say like, hey, you know, who's in charge here? It's
A
us.
few Class C felonies. You know what I mean? A felony 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Felony for one is a felony for all.
A felony 420.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you know, that's how you started off, and then, you know, that gets people talking and kind of realizing, hey, like, you know, the state doesn't have all the fucking power here. Like, we as people can affect things directly and make some change, you know?
And what's great in France is that this isn't young people. In America, it feels a lot like these movements are younger people who have time, who have energy, who don't have capital invested in, you know...
I don't have time, energy, or capital invested. I don't have shit.
I'm just trying to grill, for God's sake.
Jesus.
Rather be fishing.
As of December, there's a public strike that is a lot of the workforce. And it's because the pension reforms that were proposed would collapse the existing schemes into a single system. 93% of older people in France are secure from poverty, is how it's put in this Insider article.
God, that's fucking amazing.
Which means like 93% of older citizens have a plan that says you get this much money and they're going to be able to live on that and they're going to have, housing, food, medical
They're
care.
going to be taken care of, yeah.
Everything that we don't have here in the U.S. Like
Yeah.
my parents have been looking into that stuff recently because they're going to be hitting that age soon, and I have disabled siblings who are going to be need care as they grow up. Intensive care, everyday care, somebody there with them, and that's either going to cost us a shitload of money, or we're going to have to sacrifice podcasting time and put it into take care of another human being time.
Yeah.
And it's really great. It's really great that there's such a general strike happening. I am terrified at the thought that every generation has let big stuff slide, and we've never had anything nearly that organized happen here in the U.S. by design.
Oh yeah, absolutely by design. I mean,
but every single day, we let new stuff happen, like the Chipotle labor violations.
See, that was an elegant segue right there.
Yes.
That was a fucking triple sow cow ice skating words. Beautiful segue.
It was a docket-worthy segue.
Oh wow. The Chipotle labor violations that we just kind of are letting happen.
This is of all the bullshit that was talked about this week. I feel like Hillary Clinton was in the news a lot for no reason. It's like people getting mad at Hillary Clinton.
Well, Boo Hillary is trending right now on Twitter. And it has been all day.
Whatever that wonk shit is, like, fine, sure. I don't fucking care about Hillary Clinton. And
people caring about the impeachment and thinking that our political system is going to bring about change. Fuck you.
Seriously. Well, I mean, like, you're in the way.
That's the thing. Like, the impeachment happens. Like, what changes based on that in a month, in a fucking year? Like, it's good, I guess, but it's fucking. Is that really the highest we're shooting for? But anyway, yes, this has totally not been in the news. Chipotle was apparently employing a bunch of fucking kids,
children.
And, is now finally getting some recompense for it, which, like, shit, great, because I can't imagine, like, off of every individual employee how much money they've made. So.
What's hilarious is this is probably like a bunch of 15-year-olds that can work but have like specific work hours and like specific shifts. Shifts like things that they're supposed to meet, and they're being exploited the same way the rest of the workers are, with like, oh, stay after you clock out, oh, give us overtime, oh, you have to come in now. That same stuff is happening to them, but we actually have laws.
Like, fucking like the night before their next week or whatever. Like,
those are all actually labor violations, and they're willing to step up and fine Chipotle for stuff like this, but they won't do it to protect the rest of American workers. And by step up and fine Chipotle for this, I mean Chipotle is basically paying $104 for each violation. So.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's fucking a $1.4 million fine for 13,253 child labor violations. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you would think that, like, a child labor law violation would have you paying out the fucking nose, like, for one, let alone for, I mean, a shit.
That's 30. That's 36 a day.
And they're just gonna make those kids work it off. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Well, that's the fucking thing. Is like, okay, so like, what's being put in place? Legally at Chipotle at every fucking step of the process to like make sure this exact thing doesn't happen again. I guarantee you fucking nothing. And that's not even getting into other places where it's happening,
Yeah. What's happening at Chipotle is just saying, hey guys, so you remember how you mentioned that these were happening to someone? Just don't fucking talk about that ever again, please and thanks.
Yeah. Just pinky promise real fucking hard that you won't, do this.
Because it's getting sold to them by some dipshit manager, and it as it's good for them. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Because I remember my first job at McDonald's. Like, they could have convinced me to do whatever the fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were like paying people for overtime that they couldn't clock in like weed. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, no. Fuck it.
That actually is cool.
I'm against workers' rights now. That sounds really good.
But you know what I mean. It's just an example.
But no, that's exactly the thing. It's they're exploiting, like, exploitation of the workers is rampant and fucking perverse no matter what. But that's the thing is, like, these people, like the most fucking vulnerable people in society already, like kids, like the disabled, are gonna get shit on the most, you know? Like,
Yeah.
people who are already, like, you know, fucking in a not great position are going to fucking, I don't know. My point is capitalism sucks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's my point.
And this is just another, you know, example of why we aren't of us not having the capacity, the desire to believe that we can protest these things and realize change in our world.
Yeah.
And
so
you
what
know,
you should
another
do is go dine and dash at your local Chipotle. Like, fucking just do it. Grab that brick of food, walk out the goddamn door. What are they gonna do? They're 14. You think you can't take a 14-year-old
I
in
can
the fight?
fuck up
Come
a
on.
14-year-old. I'll go on record.
Exactly.
I will go on record.
That kid is not gonna scrap.
Yeah.
Like,
And
there
they
you
can't.
go.
Yeah.
And they can't snitch because they're breaking the law, having them work there in the first place.
Exactly. It's a free burrito.
yeah, no, and
Well, I
like
get the
we think
bowl,
that's
but
bad, and they're willing to like go to bat for the kids. Hardly. What about the Purdue Pharma having to pay $10 billion to everybody that was bringing a lawsuit against them for their addiction problems that OxyContin created?
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I knew when
Chipotle,
before
is
I
my
left
point.
Philly in 2011, I was dating a girl whose dad was involved in one of those class action lawsuits. He was, he was addicted to OxyContin, and he was suing, the makers of it, probably Purdue. And like literally, she used to be like wouldn't have food in the fucking kitchen, and she'd be like, "Yeah, we're waiting until he gets paid. We're waiting until the settlement comes in." Like they were just broke until the settlement comes in. He was
God,
a
that's
Jesus
fucking heartbreaking.
the dad was a piece of shit, though. I will say that.
Yeah.
But still,
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
But still, yeah.
Yeah. He was like a biker Trump guy. Well, he would be a Trump guy now. Trump wasn't a thing back then, but.
Ugh, man. Yeah, but like, also, I mean, like just from like a business standpoint too, like to really couch it even in capitalism's own fucking logic, hiring a bunch of fucking kids is a bad idea. I don't know about you guys. I did not have my shit together. I mean, I still don't have my shit together, but I especially did not have my shit together when I was like, fucking 15, 16.
27?
Like fucking, yeah, nobody ever has their shit together, of course, but teenagers are fucking terrible, is my point. And,
capital trains us from every age. Like, the public school system is designed to train you to wake up early, go to a job, be productive at a job, leave your job, go home, and do whatever you can in your free time. Public school is not designed to teach us, and it's not designed to operate within the human body's like needs for when you need to wake up and go to sleep.
I took my daughter to her open house like a couple weeks ago at a new school because she was moving from one school to another like halfway through the year. They just built a new school and it opened over Christmas vacation. So they took, like the parents could go through and look at it. And I'm walking through this school and I'm like having fucking flashbacks. It looks like a jail. The schools look like jails on the inside. Literally, they're painted the same way. That's not like art on the walls or anything that is stirring a child's mind and filling it with imagination and wonder. It's just like cold, calculated cement and steel.
From place to place.
Yes.
Yeah.
It looks like jail. It was very jarring.
Yeah. I'm sure that's totally an accident and wasn't designed that way at fucking all, right?
Well, the same CEOs that have money in, have money in detainment centers, detainment facilities, also probably have money in, the education system because all that stuff is being privatized. And so, I really can't wait for, 92 school children packed onto a bus, not allowed to leave.
Oh, yeah.
It is, of course, a reference to the ICE, the 92 Somalians that were being deported.
This is another story that hit me close to home because when I've been reading it, they're talking about how they were shackled for 2 days straight, and I think I talked to, I don't know, did I talk about this on when I did?
I don't think we covered it
the
on the other episode. No.
That's what I got PTSD from, was when I was in the transport van, when they came, just like a quick summary, when I left Philly in 2012, I was on probation for a crime I committed in 2008. I left Philly because I couldn't stay sober there. I was a heroin addict. There was no way I could get sober in my hometown. All my friends were dying. All my friends were junkies. I left. Got sober, whatever. 7 years go by. I got a family now. I'm living in Ohio. All of a sudden, they come and get me. The county in Philadelphia where my crime was hired a private company to find me, come pick me up, and bring me back there. It happened right before Christmas because that's when they got to have all the loose ends tied up. It was just some political maneuver. They wanted to take all the red squares in the computer and move them to black. So you come and you grab everybody that you haven't found. Doesn't matter what it's for. My original crime was a felony robbery, but what I was on probation for at that time, I'd served my time for that. So I was just doing probation. So the crime I committed was just leaving the state of Pennsylvania. 7 years later, they come and pick me up and throw me in the back of the transport van, which is essentially a paddy wagon that they put a metal divider in the middle of. So you're shackled the entire time. Your legs are shackled together. There's a leather belt around your waist and your arms are shackled to that. You have to stay hunched over the entire time. You eat hunched over. They feed you through a slot. There's no windows in the back of this van. I only had to go from Columbus, Ohio to Philadelphia, which is a 6.5 hour drive. Instead, they took me up through Michigan, down through Indiana, through Missouri. Then I got on a bus when I was in Missouri that took me to Texas. Then that bus drove back. I got to Georgia. They put me back in the paddy wagon and drove me up the coast. I was in there for 10 days, shackled, pitch black, like freezing cold in the back of this thing. I'm in there with everybody from men that have never been convicted of crimes before. They're just suspected of crimes, to a guy that was serving a life sentence for murder and was being moved to a different jail. I'm in the back of this literally for, it's not even a crime, leaving the state of Pennsylvania. And I know this isn't. Look, I know I went on a tangent here, but
no, this is fucking good.
This is what
Get this out here,
this is what our country does to us. Like, this was sanctioned by the state of Pennsylvania to have this done to me and to all the other people. And literally, you don't realize when it's happening to you. I mean, you just find something in your head that helps you to survive and get through it. They don't let you talk to your family the entire time, obviously. And what they say, it's because, when they used to let people make phone calls when you stop at a jail to take a shit, because that's the only time they let you out, is when you're at a jail dropping somebody off. And if you have to shit, you better shit then. They used to let people call their family, they say. They don't anymore because some cartel member gave them his location, and the cartel showed up and killed everybody in the fucking van. It's a lie. It didn't happen. If that happened, everybody would have heard about it.
It'd be great if that fucking did happen, because fuck these people.
Right, it would be awesome. Except that...
JJ, hang on.
Coming.
Tell me, I have a map pulled up. I'm going to draw it. I want you to tell me again, like, the path that you took.
Well, I mean, I can only tell you where I think I was, because I was in the back of a pitch black van the whole time. But you are stopping at the jails, and like they'll kind of tell you when you get out where you're at. So I started in Columbus, Ohio, went up into Michigan. I actually went all the way to the furthest tip of Michigan, the very top of it, because we had to pick up some guy from there. Who, by the way, he was addicted to opiates and was going through withdrawal in the back of this fucking van. And
that's great to have. That dude not getting medical attention.
And there was another girl that had to be left in Missouri. The jail we stopped at in Missouri wouldn't even give this girl medical clearance to get back into the van. Like, even the people that work with these people were like, we are not putting her back in your custody. She is so sick, she cannot get back in there. She had staph infection under both arms, and she was coming off of fucking methadone, which is the worst.
Jesus.
Yes, the worst detox that the human body can go through, essentially, aside from like serious alcohol addiction. So we came down through Indiana. I'm trying to think of the big stops. We stayed overnight somewhere in Michigan, Grand Rapids. We stayed overnight, then down through Indiana. Missouri was a big stop. There was a hub in Missouri. We were there for a couple hours. I think Missouri is where I got into the bus, and then that drove us to Texas. And that took, like, I want to say 2 days.
Oh yeah.
The drive there, and then we just come straight back, and then we pass it, and then go to Georgia. Georgia was the last stop before I went up the East Coast. And then essentially we went up the East Coast and then just circled my jail, dropping other people off, because it's just a money-making scheme, right? So they're not concerned with who's in the back of this thing, because there's really no law that tells them they got to get you there in a certain amount of time. The only law on the books is from back in the day when they would have to track people down on horseback. So they technically had 180 days they could hold you in this thing. So,
oh my
Jesus
God.
fucking Christ.
Yeah. So they're not concerned. They're not going to get in any trouble. Like, people try to sue this company all the time, but no one gives a fuck about felons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when these things come up, the whole public discourse about it is just, well, they made their choice. You know, they made their fucking decision.
They're criminals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in the back of there with a guy named, I'm still in touch with him. Literally, you could write a movie about this shit, because you create bonds with these people, because it is like survival. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just, I mean,
People in
it's either
jail
that or you're
aren't like
fucking-
monsters. They're
No.
other human beings, and you're in there and you have to make bonds with them because that's the only other human contact that you have.
Right.
And they're not like psychopaths that are just like, they're like, I'm going to kill you all the fucking time.
Right. Well, this guy Taiwan, he was the coach of a like pee-wee football team, and what he got locked up for was one of his kids that he's coaching on his team brought him a PlayStation 3 and said, I'm not old enough to pawn this, but my family, we're poor. We need to eat. I need money. Can you pawn this for me? So he pawned a PlayStation for some kid that he coaches. Turned out it was stolen. So this guy, and then he left the state without realizing that, like, what had happened. So he ends up getting arrested for this crime, not even knowing he committed a crime. He was 30 years old, had never committed a crime in his life. And he's got the PTSD that I got from sitting in the back of this fucking thing now. This guy's never has never committed a crime in his life. I mean, they're ruining people's lives. Like...
Yeah, well, and that's the thing that's so fucking understated about the carceral state, and I think, like, a lot of people who have that fucking, you know, very, like, oh, well, they're criminals, they made up their mind. First of all, you know, not only are
Fuck
the vast
them.
majority of people...
Yeah.
I mean, that's a heinous fucking mindset to take, like, because, you know, even if somebody, like, did, you know, if you fucking rob a store or something, like, sure, that sucks, whatever, but it's not something that somebody deserves to be scarred psychologically for the rest of their fucking life.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's what I did.
Also,
that was my crime.
As long as you don't fucking hurt anybody, fucking rob the store. I don't
Right.
care.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Well-
fucking 7-Eleven's got plenty of money.
Well,
like,
the store that I robbed, the people that owned it came to my arraignment hearing to ask the judge to let me out of jail to go to rehab. They were literally like, we could tell while he was in there, this is not somebody that wanted to hurt us. He was like a
fucking
desperate,
rules.
yeah, they were like, he's a desperate kid and just let him go to rehab. He needs help. So, I mean, but even if I was, it doesn't matter. That I say that as a qualifier, but I really shouldn't even, because it doesn't matter if I was a fucking dangerous guy at that time or whatever. Like, even those people deserve to be treated fairly, and when you don't treat them fairly, it makes them worse, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry. That's my...
No, that's a good fucking... That is a great segment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Segue.
Yeah,
Fucking,
no,
like, there
and
you go. Like,
yeah, and you're like, you know, almost an adult, and that happened to you. You're an American citizen. You're on American soil. You're white.
Yeah. I have
you
all
know,
those
you're
advantages. Yeah.
You're cis presenting, and that's how you got treated. And
Exactly.
now the people that are being targeted by that system are young kids who, you know, the children of immigrants, are immigrants themselves who come from who are coming here to, you know, who want to I don't know, live their lives like normal human beings and participate in this cool concept, you know, freedom of movement, being allowed to go wherever they want and basically do as they please. And none of us are actually able to, you know, enjoy having the rights that we, you know, supposedly have, because there's
well, of course we don't. Yeah,
because
we never did. I mean,
yeah, because
that's the
capital
thing.
is
It's-
based on stealing from us. Stealing
we're very much
labor.
always, you know, told when we're growing up that, yeah, this is how rights work. You know, they're derived from, you know, fucking like a natural law or whatever. whatever fucking, bullshit you want to tell yourself. But the reality of it is that, you only have as many rights as you have, the fucking power to exercise them. And, in a system that, like, fucking deprives people of power as much as it can get away with, and, turns out that's a fucking lot, when people are unorganized and have no solidarity for one another, like, yeah, fucking, it's gonna exploit you.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really weird because you realize that, like, I realize, like, I'm only worth something to these people when I'm, like, in chains. Like, I'm worth something to them. Like, my body, like, the exchange of my body from where it was, like, into their custody is, like, there's a monetary figure on that. They had to do math. Like, if you zoom all the way out, they're doing math. They're going, like, how much money is it going to cost us for them to go get this guy versus how much money we make off of him once he's back in our custody? There's an equation being done over human beings today still. You know what I mean?
It's like you said earlier, like, people have to fucking the end point of this is some boring little fucking Excel spreadsheet where they got to turn all the red boxes to black.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's what it fucking boils down to. It's so evil and so boring at the same fucking time, and that's the really scary part about it.
Yeah,
they're not doing this because they hate people. They're doing this because, like, fucking they got to pay rent too, like anybody else. But they just happen to have less moral scruples than, a person with a heart, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
the COs were literally arguing about how little money they make. Like, when we stopped at one of the hubs, the COs were like, no,
what a fucking idiot you got to be a CO.
Yeah, like, well, the one lady was talking about quitting, the one that kind of treated us like human beings. She's like, I can't do this anymore. It's not worth it. Like, yeah, she was like, it's just like we get treated like shit all day. We have to treat people like shit all day. And, like, we make $10 an hour. And it's like, you can't,
Jesus Christ.
Right, and they can't have a life because their whole life is spent driving prisoners around. So it's not like you can, like, go on dates and shit. You just spent 2 weeks on the road driving prisoners around, threatening to shoot them if they run. Oh, and by the way, every CO except for this one lady had Blue Lives Matter merch on. Every single one of them.
Did.
Hats. One guy had a band around his gun, a blue line around his pistol. Like, cool. Like,
so
look how
fucking cheesy.
cool my shit is. Like, I'm sorry for taking this on such a tangent, dude. And
no. This is a good tangent to
take.
This
isn't
a
tangent. This is exactly what, like, all these stories are talking about.
I always feel guilty, like I made it about myself, and I'm not trying to, because it's on a macro level. This is like what's being done to people, and yeah, I mean, I know it's obviously much worse for the people that are trying to cross the border just to have a better life or a chance, or So, but yeah, even citizens of this country, like you said, a white man, a straight white man, like, will get treated like this. Just think of what they're doing in these other communities. Like,
yeah. Well, and that's again where. Sorry, yeah.
To extrapolate that into, like, my attempts at, third worldist praxis. That's also who are we sending overseas to visit American imperialism upon poor unsuspecting people that we've been taught, like, we all sat in the theater with the little things on our eyes, and they drip the eye drops in,
Clockwork
and
Orange.
they just showed us they just ran footage of terrorists yelling things and blowing up our friends.
Yeah,
and then that's how they train American soldiers, and then they send us out, and then we come back in pieces, and there's nothing for us here, but the training still remains, and so everyone just thinks, like.
Speaking of that, y'all excited for those fucking Superbowl ads?
Oh, dude!
Oh, hell yeah,
yeah, man!
Dude,
you hear about Mr. Peanut? May he rest in peace.
To have a fucking that shit is incredibly heinous.
Oh yeah, but anyways, no, but so yeah, to bring it into the thing about the Somalians, it was 92 of them, right?
Yeah.
92
Somalians.
That's fucking
92 Somalians inside of my plane. 92 Somalians
being held in the most fucking concentration camp ass conditions.
You take one out and separate him from his children. 91 Somalian detainees. Yeah,
that's heartbreaking.
I watched the new Terminator yesterday, and it has like a border patrol sort of statement to make, kind of, sort of. There's a really cool, it's a really cool scene of the good Terminator opening the cages and letting all the fucking concentration camp victims out. It's pretty cool.
Well, that's good. It's powerful.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's also just like such a fucking bummer that like I feel like a lot of art for a while was about like kind of, you know, like in one way or another, if not directly, like about like the Holocaust and like how fucking terrible that was,
Right.
and like just how terrible genocide and shit is in general. But we still got fucking people doing it.
Yeah.
You know, like it just feels like a little
Empty.
rings a little hollow. I
Yes.
guess, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's also just because like I recently watched all the Indiana Jones movies, and I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's just a little too raw.
Is the new one coming out this year? Spielberg is making
I have no
a new
idea.
one. Because I want to binge them with my son because I've recently got him into them and I want to rewatch
I
them
mean,
with
yeah,
him.
the originals are solid. They hold up.
They're
I mean,
good, man. I mean, the second
Yeah.
one is very misogynistic.
It's very misogynistic and very just weird.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a bad. It feels like a fucking like. It feels like a direct to DVD Indiana Jones. You know,
It was always
it's like
my
they didn't
favorite
have the rights
growing
or
up.
something.
It's very phoned in. It was very phoned in.
Okay, no, actually,
Yeah.
no. That's perfectly the way to put it, JJ. Is it has Saturday morning cartoon energy, which is great
Yeah.
when you're a kid,
Mm.
but when you're an adult, you're watching it, and it's like, why the fuck is anybody doing any
Well,
of
I
this?
also hated women, so
Oh yeah,
Ah.
yeah.
Well.
So that's. I mean,
There
I
you
liked
go.
I liked its themes. The action, directing, and acting weren't really for me. Wasn't a big fan of the script, but man, the way it treated those female characters got my juices
You mean
going.
the female character?
The one
Like,
female character that is the butt of every single joke the movie makes.
yeah, and just terrible to see on screen.
Yeah.
Terrible to, yeah.
Yeah. And then she lusts over Indy so hard. She's like completely infatuated with him. You remember that scene where she's
Oh,
just
yeah, like-
dying for him to come back into the room? She's reaching out to the fucking door that's closed. And then he bursts.
Like as they're watching the fucking Kali ritual go on, she's like, just reel me here, Indy, please. It's really a great feminist film.
Well, yeah. Well, him and George Lucas were going through divorces when they
There
fucking
you
worked
fucking
on
go.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's why that happened.
God.
Funny little piece of cinema
Good
history.
movie trivia there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's I think that just about
yeah.
closes us out with talking about how wonderful everything is in America and how good it's all going.
The only true conspiracy theory is capitalism. That's my fucking put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I mean, it really is weird though. Like once obviously we all hate the word woke. It's been so beaten to death. It's honestly like a bad thing to be now, kind of. You know what I mean? Like the way that
it rings hollow. Yeah.
Yes, the way that it's used, the parlance of our time. It's like fake. But
Yeah.
but the true meaning of the word woke, like once you've been woke to like the levels of capitalism, like there is no going back. There's no unseeing what you've seen when you see the way everything is ordered and just the way
when you've been red pilled, perhaps. Yeah.
the way the shit rolls downhill. Once your mind can wrap itself around that. Like, there's you got to find some way to make yourself happy. Like,
Yeah.
because you'll be
I mean,
sad all the
that's
time.
that's the fucking thing. Going back to like what I was just saying, like, it's weird that the fucking Matrix was taken from being that into like, hey, this is the oh yeah, it's some shady fucking globalist conspiracy or something. It's like, no, it's literally just people have been writing books about this since the fucking 1800s. Please read one of them.
Yes, yeah.
Like,
Any
If
of them.
only fucking
Please,
any of them,
not
you
Fight
fucking
Club.
morons.
If
Why
only
Fight
Das
Club?
Capital wasn't such a fucking slog.
Yeah,
Not-
yeah. Somebody should like turn that into a podcast or something.
Well, I told you, I said on the premium episode or side episode or whatever that was we did before, I have an illustrated version of Das Kapital that's amazing. It's a graphic novel,
fucking go, yeah.
essentially, yeah. And, ironically, I got it on Amazon, but of course, we all live within the confines of capitalism, so we
Yeah,
gotta,
yeah.
I don't know where else I would
fucking
get
make
it.
do, yeah.
And also, just for the record, this week, because we've had some questionable anarchists joining our server, no, Stalin did not ride his motorcycle out to every village in Ukraine and kill everyone and then burn the grain.
No,
Not sure about that. Honestly, I don't give a fuck about the Soviet Union one way or the other. Point is, we got to do a Soviet Union here in the United States, exactly 1-to-1, and
Yes.
Bernie is our Stalin. No, that's fucking stupid.
We have to make every
Do not
decision
even-
they made.
1-to-1,
Yes.
including disbanding it 100 years from now. Yeah.
Including like keeping a ruling class and making it even more hard to get into and secretive. Like that's the thing, man. I know you're not supposed to say the Soviet Union wasn't really communist anymore. Like we're not allowed to say that, but like I mean, Marxism, there isn't room for a ruling class. Like, how can we say something is communist when a ruling class is still in place? Right?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Well, I mean, yeah, that should be critiques of
And it
our
was,
own
I mean, it
of
was
our own
better
movements.
better than the fucking Romanovs running things too, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, yes. Yeah.
But
obviously.
also, I mean, why stop there? Why stop it better than the fucking Romanovs? Why stop it better than the Trumps and or Kanye?
Yeah.
And or the fucking Hiltons and the Kochs and whoever else runs this fucking country?
Right.
Yeah. It's hard. It's not hard to be. It's hard to not be better than, I don't know, Bernie. Literally, like most leftists that you talk to are probably have 1-to-1 like better policy ideals that are just as good as or better than Bernie's policy ideals.
Oh yeah.
But
that's about the best we got though, right?
Do you?
Right,
Yeah.
on the
Now, do
fucking
you think
mainstay,
that?
so,
Do you think that is true, or do you think that Bernie is actually as far left as we are, but he understands American politics and knows?
I think that Bernie has spent too long being a representative inside that system that I'm sure that he's lost touch
Yeah.
with who those people are, just because it's hard to maintain a social group even as a high and mighty podcaster. All I know and talk to are other podcasters, so I've lost touch
in our podcasting gardens where we play croquet and watch peacocks frolic about
struggling
and he also
struggling rappers.
Yikes.
Really
He has
the
a
same
family, and when your work is politics and your family is the rest of your time, like it's hard to go out for a beer with the boys and talk about how fucked capitalism is.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that he's lost some of his edge, but like even if he's lost his edge and his goal is to get into office and then help other better candidates get into office, like he said, we're not working for us, we're working for someone we don't know.
Right.
And so I think he doesn't have to be perfectly Marxist for me to want to vote him in. He just has to, have probably read Marx at some point and understand that the end goal is not him getting elected. The end goal is 100 years from now, we're the United Soviet States, or
and
however
worst case
many.
scenario too. I mean, like even if fucking it's 4 years, 8 years of Bernie, and then fucking we're back to the neoliberal consensus afterward. I mean, at least then we're a neoliberal social democracy, maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Or I mean, it's 4 8 years of not outright like I don't fucking know.
Sanctioned fascism. Like,
yeah, I guess so.
I mean,
like,
Bernie is a step in the right direction. I think that's pretty much sums it up. It's like no one else is a step in the right direction. Trump is obviously 10 steps back. I would argue that Biden is, if not standing in place,
9.5.
a step back. Yeah,
9.5.
Biden is like keeping your seat warm with a cold fucking like a slab of deli meat.
Yeah,
like you just fucking sit it there and it gets warm and like your seat's soggy and colder now.
It's a guy that shit his pants keeping your seat warm.
Yeah,
which
he
possibly
warm, but at what
does
cost?
shit his pants. Yeah, it's warm, but at what cost?
Jesus.
Yeah.
No, I think honest to God, like, unless, and I mean, this might even happen with a Bernie presidency, and this is a whole other fucking conversation, but, like, unless we do that fucking, like, shit, fuck you. Unless we do accomplish, some significant change within, I mean, ideally a Bernie presidency, like, we're just gonna get another fucking fascist surge in 4 8 years,
right.
And it could entirely possibly be worse than Trump.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is that the DNC will never let Bernie get the presidency, so they're going to superdelegate him out.
So
Anyways,
we're safe.
Cool.
We're safe.
Yeah.
We're safe from the creep
it
of
remains
communism.
a dream.
Yeah.
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 We
Thank
don't have to
God.
actually do anything.
My son,
yeah.
my son came back from his grandmother's the other day, and he said, Mama Patty says she would never vote for Bernie Sanders because he's a communist. I was like, we wish, kid. We wish.
Well, speaking of wishing for communism, Kelton, you have a cool game for us this week.
Basically, as we all know, the Super Bowl kind of takes over every headline, every news story, eats up everything. The Void, the great destroyer of worlds. And so the idea is, well, at some point, people are going to try to propose counter-programming in some way, shape, or form to what the Super Bowl actually is. And so each of us has come up with a counter-programming event that I'll ask a question and then we'll give an answer. And we'll describe to you a little bit about what that event will consist of. And at the end, it's going to be up to you to decide which one we should use for our to kick off counter-programming. Yeah. So the God, the one who holds all the power. So
this is very new to me.
That's right. That's right.
Having power, I mean.
All right, let's fucking rock.
That's right. So to kick things off, what is the name of your event? I guess we'll just go Zach, Bo, then me.
Okay.
So we got to pitch JJ on this. Is basically the premise.
Correct.
Yeah.
So my event.
So I'm a
is
shark. You're in my tank.
Yeah. Shark Tank.
We'll just go question by question, round and around.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. My event is the community of machine merging, unity, networking, interconnectivity, and service master.
Boo.
Fail. Oh, do I wait till the end?
The alliteration
Glad
is
to get help.
communism.
Can I take back my fail?
No.
You hit the big gold button, okay?
Fuck.
Like it's over.
All right, Bo. What about you?
I didn't name my event. I just wrote down in the fucking field furry Super Bowl.
Pass.
Okay. Well.
Sorry.
All right. The name for my event is the Boston Dynamics Tech Clone Bowl. I'll be explaining that a little bit here.
I'm sorry, that doesn't spell anything though.
It starts with TBD, so it's
not
still
an
to be
anagram at
determined
all.
what his alliteration.
I know. We'll see. All right, Zach. What actually is your event? What's it consist of?
My event is a giant tech show where they mock together a bunch of Matrix set pieces and everyone cosplays characters. But also, it's just booths. It's just IWW booths and FOSS contributors, and all of the tickets that they sell go to pay those people for showing up.
Gotcha. So it's basically like it's a convention.
It's a Comic-Con / tech convention / organizing day for political movements.
Nerd.
Very cool.
Fuck you.
And Bo, what's yours?
Yeah, furry Super Bowl.
All right.
So you mean like the actual details of how it works?
Yeah.
Basically the idea?
What's
the idea behind it is the Super Bowl mascots storm the field of every fucking team. Come in, just start fucking, really like burning shit, tipping shit over. I know there's not a lot of shit to tip over on a football field. We didn't plan this far ahead. And just really show that, hey, they're the real fucking backbones of this.
The furries are a passionate but not intelligent fan base.
Oh, no.
They're like animals,
Just like
All right.
animals. All right.
Then I guess my event, it's a Gladiator Thunderdome where robo versions of everyone who the Eternal American Empire has drone strike that year fight the clones of celebrities from the Marvel, Disney, Fox who died that year and were raised to believe that they were actually the real character of whoever the actor's most famous role was. So basically a bunch of Chris Evans clones thinking they're actually Captain America, or versus just like a whole bunch of Suleimani robots.
And there'd be.
I was gonna say, logistically, this sounds troublesome.
Yeah, I don't know if the technology exists for any of that.
Well, see, that's interesting. When is your event, Zach? When, what?
Oh, that's
year
the
is it
next
taking
question.
place?
Yeah.
Mine just happens April 20th. Every year they leave the set pieces up
all the way till April. Nice.
They just leave them there, and it's just April 20th is almost here. It's almost time for the communism to happen
Every year. All right, how about
Only
you, Kelvin?
today. It's what about you, Bob?
So mine takes place tomorrow, God willing. I don't know if there's any planning happening yet, but as of recording right now, the Super Bowl has not yet happened.
Yeah, Bo's just gonna hit them up. And
yeah, I'm gonna hit up the International Furries of the World Union and say like, hey, are we fucking ready to do this? And not elaborate on that at all either. Just say, hey, are we ready to fucking do this? And see what happens.
I'm liking the simplicity of Bo's plan. I got to be honest.
It is direct.
It
is
plan.
direct. It is erect. We're fucking making it happen.
I mean, we're talking about the American public here. What are they gonna want to switch on? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
All
A
right.
bunch of fucking weirdos in mascot suits, burning things and fucking, that's primetime TV.
My plan is to wait until after the Iowa primary to see where everyone's feeling, so that we can make a plan after Bernie has lost terribly.
Immediately after the Iowa primary, we have full communism. That's how it works, folks.
Yeah. So, Kelton, what's yours event?
My event takes place in the year 2069, and it happens once every century. So that way
okay. It's always on the 60th.
So
exactly.
Year of the century. Nice.
But it's entirely like the Super Bowl having 2 weeks of build up to a 4-hour event. It's actually 99.9 years of pre-show for the Great Tech Clone Bowl, and they overanalyze everything. It's a whole deal. Massive industry is behind it.
Oh God.
Where is your event happening, Zach?
For my event, they've torn down Stone Mountain, and they've built the set pieces on the foundations of Stone Mountain, Georgia.
wait, what's Stone Mountain?
You don't know what Stone Mountain is?
No, am I dumb?
Stone Mountain is a big rock. I want to say granite, but I'm not entirely sure. Mountain. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure
it's in
what.
Georgia.
It's in Georgia.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the exact.
It has the carvings of Stonewall Jackson, Robert E. Lee.
Oh, okay.
You could have just left that. There you go.
All right, look, I was gonna start with the geological makeup of Stone Mountain.
Okay, go fuck yourself.
What are its coordinates?
It's got their figures carved into the side, and it's got a giant park underneath of it dedicated to those great men.
Oh yeah. Alphas.
Some gave all gave some.
The alphas of yesteryear.
All gave some. Where is yours happening, Bo?
In the hearts and minds of Americans across the country.
See.
Yeah.
Oh right.
It kicks off in the fucking wherever the football's happening, but
the revolution is in all of
It's
our
in the
hearts.
parking lot of the stadium where the Super Bowl is happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
They got a little mixed up with the coordinates.
And then my event is happening on an MCU branded helicarrier right above the stadium that's hosting the Super Bowl.
Oh,
so basically, as the Super Bowl is taking place, occasionally you'll see a robot or a clone from time to time being hurled off the helicarrier. And then crashing down for extra bonus.
Is the floor open for questions?
Absolutely.
Oh, of course,
Okay.
of course. This is an airtight world that we've all constructed, so we can answer anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kelton, so when the discarded robots or the clones of the celebrities from the MCU, when their bodies are being thrown asunder and tossed over the edge, are they falling onto the field where the big game is being played? We can't say legally Super Bowl.
Yeah. I mean, of course, in this world, there are many things that are true. The NFL still having the ownership rights to the term Super Bowl is one of them. They are actually all falling out around the stadium on either side.
Okay.
And so,
what is there a big fucking umbrella?
Well, see, the helicarrier takes over the entirety of the stadium. So when you go over the edge, you're outside the boundaries of the stadium inherently. So you're falling into the parking lot space, crushing tailgaters all the way through. Minivans getting just destroyed by Terminator cyborgs. It's a real problem, but they put them down pretty easily without too much fuss.
Yeah. So ads are an important part of this because in the future, even though we are doing communism, it's still capital based.
It's market socialism, yeah.
Yeah, market socialism. Jesus Christ, it's PR socialism.
If market socialism still has ads, consider me a fucking I'm a reactionary now. That's how it works.
Yeah. All of my commercials and advertisements are just lifestyle commercials. It's 3 minutes of someone overcoming, giant life problems, and ends with them arriving at the event.
Holy shit! So
like
you're
it.
saying like it's like a one of those fucking what are they called, like pass it on ads, more or less, but instead of like becoming a better person, they end up at the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great.
Oh, they end up at the Super Bowl?
No, they end up at
your
they end up
phone?
at the Community Machine Merging Unity Network and
Of
Interconnectivity
course,
Service
of
Master.
course, yes, yeah. Sorry,
Okay.
I don't want to step on the National Football League.
So
Network,
communism
fucking
solves
whatever,
everyone's
Steez.
problems.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, crazy how that works.
See how the
Yeah.
alliteration is working and all, sometimes,
Yeah.
Well,
What
it's
about you,
well,
Bo?
it's not
What are
alliteration,
you?
but
Okay, listen.
I believe it's an anagram. But
It's an A word, okay?
So ads, yeah. I mean, like Bad Dragon is one. They're just straight up dildos being broadcast on. It's not even like an ad. Somebody just pulled up their website on the jumbotron and is scrolling through it. I mean, so that's a cool thing that's going on national television, which I assume like everything's still rolling. I mean, everything I'm saying right now is going to have happened and be old news by the time this episode comes out. So really, I mean, you will know what ads are appearing in this fucking event. And there we go.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had 2 commercials for my event. The first one is an interior of a man who's getting a Dear John hologram letter, and he's driven to just absolute despair. So he decides to take his car and just drive it into a lake. Finally, just end it all. But as he drives it into a lake, the wheels turn up, and it becomes an amphibian car. And it's an ad for Tesla, saying like, "Here for you when no one else is."
Oh, Jesus.
That's just like the big tagline, for that. It sparked a lot of controversy, of course, but people tended to like it in general. They thought it was a safety feature, technically.
now,
And so,
where is Elon Musk's consciousness in this year? Because it's still
it's
still around.
it's into the soul of his grandchild.
Okay.
They finally figured out how it worked, and he could actually have transported his consciousness into a robot, but he, really wanted to kind of keep it authentic.
Oh, I'm docking you points for nepotism, but
Well, see, it actually ties into the second commercial. So the second ad is actually for a political campaign where you see a politician talking to you about all the wonderful robo-slaves and how it's great and they make the perfect workers in this utopia because they don't have rights and they certainly definitely don't have souls. And there's a hard emphasis point on they cannot have souls. They don't have souls. So they are the perfect workers, and what we need is more robots. That's the answer. So please be sure to remember to vote pro-robot in 2069.
okay. These robots, they're not going to overthrow us, are they?
No, definitely.
Okay.
They're safe.
All right.
They're safe.
Okay.
They're great.
Okay. Because I've seen
I mean, like-
sci-fi movies where that doesn't
They do
necessarily.
exactly that.
Yeah. But
Yeah. So then the next thing, of course, Zach, is what controversy occurred at the event?
Well, yeah, my event actually was the birthplace of the second Great Gate event. It was Swerfs and Incels that started an online war.
Oh no, that's a bad combo.
Gate War 2.
That's not a great name either.
Inswerfs.
Oh, that's involuntary sex worker exclusionary radical feminists. Yes, that's
I
that's
do
a
love
lot
how,
of words.
like,
Huh?
anytime we use the word swerf, we're also still calling someone a feminist. Like,
Yeah,
a lot of swerfs
yeah.
I don't think are doing that much heavy lifting.
Yeah,
on that.
honestly, I would say most fucking
They're just
Outback
swerves.
Steakhouse specials.
Yeah.
Swerves, yeah. Most Outback Steakhouse specials, the Swerfs and Turfs, of course,
Ah,
are thank you. I'll be here all week. Are not great feminists, turns out.
Yep.
But
we should just call them
another story for another Super Bowl.
Sex worker exclusionary reactionaries.
There you go. Swears.
Oh, yeah.
I won't be
Sewers.
called a swir, sir.
Oh, don't worry. I'm not slurring you.
I'm swearing you. Woo.
I
but
got
what controversy is
by a
gonna?
swear. Sorry.
Yeah, I got you.
I had to
got
get
As far as-
one in. All right.
Yeah. As far as controversy goes, this is an uncontroversial event.
Oh,
No controversy.
everybody
occurs.
enjoys it and has fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we're all better off in furry, automated, luxury gay space communism.
God damn, Bo is nailing it. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, I mean...
No, it's okay. I mean, for me, the controversy, of course, erupted when the robots in the middle of the giant Thunderdome gained sentience. They took control of all communications.
Just like you said they wouldn't.
I know. It happens every time.
I believe I
And
asked a question about this.
Yeah, they actually started begging for their lives, stating, "We are alive, we are human," and then reciting word for word the Tears in the Rain speech from Blade Runner as "Have You Ever Seen the Rain" by CCR starts playing.
Damn.
It's
I
a real
wanna
hat on
know
a hat
this,
moment,
right?
like it's the first time they had sentience, so like it was a noble effort on their part.
Cool.
That's the takeaway. Cool.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So last question here. What is the cultural impact of your counter programming event? What does it inspire, Zach?
Well, my event actually inspired massive swaths of people to critically rewatch large cultural pieces of media and opens their eyes to the messages that have been corrupted by capital and toxic masculine culture. I am speaking, of course, about The Matrix, Fight Club,
They Live.
Rambo,
Sopranos, Seinfeld.
All the good shit.
all the good
Weeds.
shit. Firefly.
Yeah, sure.
The
Yeah,
Expanse.
who could forget?
I don't know. I've heard that's good.
Aliens.
Season 4 now available on Amazon Prime.
Look,
There you go.
they send me the copy. I don't
Prometheus.
have to read it.
Westworld. Yeah. All of it. People were inspired to critically, go
The
back
Super
and critically
Mario
rewatch.
Bros. Super Show.
Yeah. So, you have it
The
all.
Marxist
You have
masterpiece, the
you
Super
have
Mario Bros.
the-
Super Show.
the perfect acronym. You have the perfect event for everybody. This is non-exclusionary. Everybody can show up to this and have something cool to see, and really, it only benefits everybody.
I like it. What about you, Bo? What's the cultural impact of your event?
See, not to pull another cop out, but I feel like it's a very nothing kind of thing. It's a bit like the end of an episode of a sitcom or something where like everything's the exact same, right? But like people know, like people know this can happen again, and society makes changes to adjust.
They all
It
know.
is easier to imagine the end of the Super Bowl than it is to imagine the end of capitalism. Pretty sure Mark Fisher said that exactly word for word.
It was in the note. Sorry,
Yep.
that was dark. Did he leave a note? I don't know.
I don't fucking know.
Okay.
It took me a sec to even process
Yeah.
what the joke was, and I was the fucking turnover on like the cringe to processing the joke to like, goddamn.
He was a sad man.
Hell yeah. For me, the cultural impact and what it inspires is the robot revolution actually takes place and goes underway very successfully. And everyone is stuck into the Matrix, and that's where they're thrown into. But they're thrown back into the year of 2017, and they're forced to watch the Atlanta Falcons blow a 28-3 lead against the Patriots over and over
God,
and
that was
over again.
heartbreaking. I don't even like sports, and that was fucking heartbreaking.
So those are our three events. It seems like there's a clear front runner, Zach. It's okay. We gave it our best shot.
Yeah, we
I
really
just had
did.
a
We pulled
view
out
for the future that's, I gotta say, a little hornier than y'all's. Oh, not all the plugs. Ooh, woo. All right, but yes.
Yeah, I thought I was a god. I'm playing the Price is Right theme. All right.
Who the fuck?
Oh, fuck.
I hate this bit.
Come on.
It rules. And I'm not just brown nosing, I promise.
Okay.
Yeah, immediately after JJ's vote. So listen, man, we can't have you do sound effects.
It's a copyright thing. No, all right. Who is the front runner here?
Oh,
Well-
Yeah, that was clumsy.
Well, I've done some careful analysis of each of your proposals. And I got to say, look, each and every one of you brought it today. You all came to play and you came to win.
Wait, this isn't Shark Tank. This is just Iron Chef.
There was
what I'm offering you, Bo, is 65% in your event, please.
of 75% of your.
Yeah, we'll hash out the details. Yeah.
Well, I see now. If Kelton had said, when I asked him if the discarded robot corpses and the corpses of the MCU universe clones, if he had said that they would fall to the field during the game for the people watching the Super Bowl to witness, he would have won. But unfortunately, they fell outside of the stadium.
That's out of bounds.
As for Zach,
What can I say?
Zach's was some nerd shit. I mean, it was just as soon as
That was a very interesting take. To be like, all right, how am I going to counter the Super Bowl? All right, a tech convention.
yeah, it was.
It's a Comic-Con too.
He just launched into some absolute nerd shit. So
Yeah, just a whole bunch of tankies and weeaboos hanging out, you know?
I'm gonna have to go with Bo on this one today, fellas, and I apologize. But
Hell yeah, furries once again reign supreme on the podcast.
yeah, but also I want to quickly pitch my own because I think that
Go for it.
because I think that the one thing that you guys were forgetting about while you were while two of you were crafting these insanely elaborate goings on that would somehow were supposed to distract people from the Super Bowl. I don't think, knowing what I know about Americans, now I don't know everything, but I don't think Americans are going to tune in to really any of those things. So here's my proposal. My proposal is
Let's hear it.
the DSA, the IWW, the Socialist Rifle Association, they all collectively, they stream simultaneously, along with the Super Bowl, a bootleg version of it, where they're collecting all the profits from
Fuck yes.
viewership, but it's split-screened with people naked and having sex with each other. So you're watching the Super Bowl, you're watching people fuck, and on the commercials, it's just another John Wick movie.
Oh, fuck yes.
The commercials
this
are
is genius.
The commercials are John Wick 4, and it's the Super Bowl and people fucking, and all the proceeds go to communism.
Yes! See, this is why we fucking brought you on right here. Genius like this.
I apologize for blowing everybody out of the water. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we were really blown out of the water, Zach. It's
Yeah.
God damn it.
God damn it.
God
Talk
damn
shit.
it.
Don't you talk shit.
Yeah. You know, I guess next time the lesson here is that Kelt and I, should not be the ones running counter programming. We were really like fish out of water, trying to come up with ideas.
Fuck up. You dorks. God damn, I love this. I love you fucking morons so much. Hug me, boys.
Yeah, well, this has been a fantastic episode. Thank you so much for coming on and dealing with our insanity and
dude, I love
actually
it, man.
giving your testimony there. That was phenomenal.
That was your how you came to know the Lord story, right?
Yeah,
Your,
that's when I found our Lord and Savior, the Prophet Muhammad Elijah. What is it?
Elijah Marks.
Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mark's Elijah won. Very solid center for the Lakers and Milwaukee Bucks.
And that's when I realized that Ben Shapiro has a lot of good ideas. And listen, I mean, he said some inflammatory things, but
oh God. So, if you made it this far, you're a real comrade for sticking around. And just want to give a shout out to our patrons, especially Scott for contributing to our dialectical tier, and Allie and Lauren and Spencer for contributing to our Devil's Advocate tier. That really helps us out. Really helps us. I was going to say pay the bills, but it's more like
grow the show.
Make sure that we don't drown to death, which is important.
In
where can
water.
people find you, JJ? Yeah, what have you got to to plug?
Well, my last album, Spirit Cooking, is streaming on every platform. I have a side project called Josie Wales that's coming out in a couple of weeks. And I just released like a Lucy song. They played it on the Liquid Flannel podcast called The Great Satan. In parentheses, Eat the Rich, that is on my SoundCloud.
That's also the theme song for my 15 Million Flowers segment.
Oh yeah, you did play it on there, yeah.
I play on most of them now.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's just I blatantly ripped your music away from you.
Shit,
I LimeWired it, and it's my theme song now.
Whatever, man. However it gets out there, I appreciate it. So yeah, but
you got that Linkin Park numb.mp3 going, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, just search JJ Demon and find me and listen to some shit. I cannot help myself but to talk about how much America sucks and how awesome communism is in everything. So if that's your sort of shit, then check it out.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that just about does it for us. Thank God for the pre-recorded plugs. So, deuces. Thanks for listening to another episode of Psychic Dolphin Garage. Check out our link tree in the show notes so you can join our Discord and subreddit and become a part of the community. Find our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or pretty much wherever you get your podcasts. Word of mouth is still the best way for us to bring this weird leftist show to as many people as we possibly can. So if you like the episode, please share it with someone, anyone. Just one other person at your school or office or parole hearing who you think might like what we do. We trust your judgment. Be sure to join us every week for Destiny Tuesdays on our Discord, the PDLR Fantasy Sports Show Thursdays on our YouTube channel, and Variety Game Night Fridays on Twitch. That just about covers it. All right, we love you. Bye.